All right, so man, tell me, what do you know about the Dogman?
Well, see, I know the first sighting that I could find was in 1887.
1887.
Yeah.
That's the research I found too. So we're already linked up on the same wavelength, man. So today's topic's going to be about the Michigan Dogman.
Right. That was the two loggers you read about, right?
Right. So
two loggers.
Yeah. So tell me what you heard, and I'll back it up, man.
So two loggers spotted this thing. Of course, while they walked through the woods, I guess during their work. And that's as far as I got with those guys. What is there anything different about that spotting?
So yeah, before we go any further, for all you soy boys who live in the city, loggers are people who cut down trees for a living. All right. Right. It's not so just letting you know, man. All right, it's not a blogger, it's a logger. All right, chop the wood. Yeah. So what I got is that in 1887, up in Michigan, northwest Michigan, near the Canadian border, two loggers were out around and came across what they say looked like a half man, half dog, right?
Yep.
Right. Poked it with a couple sticks on it after that, right? And so then that took me down a rabbit hole as well. That was the first sighting, and I did some look. Matter of fact, speaking of Dogman, there's our unofficial channel mascot right there.
Right, his name is Revenge.
Give us some history. I'll give him a little history on Revenge there.
He's been through all the canine training. He did not complete the bite part, which I don't understand that at all.
He failed the police exam for not being aggressive enough.
So. Right, but we got two other big dogs, and he is the smallest one out of all of them, but he beats them down.
And so, yeah, for sure. So everybody, when we do our Yeti hunts and we go up into the woods, Revenge is with us, and his nose and his ears, have at least keeps the mountain lions away. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
So, anyways, dug into the Dogman. First sighting, 1887, Northwest Michigan. Funny enough, man, that's the first sighting I could find. I looked for a week, right? That's the first sighting I could find, right? Second sighting, same area, 1937, in a place called Paris, Michigan. Did you find that as well?
I found 1938, where the guy was fishing.
No, this was a different one. So go ahead, tell me yours.
And I'll follow up with this one.
It's 1937, Paris, Michigan. Just another two randos walking through the woods. But they got attacked by like 5 wild dogs. And they said leading these dogs, they said was a 7-foot tall dog man with blue eyes and a scream or a howl. They said it sounded like a human scream. So tell me about what did you get? Did you get the same one?
So in 1938, man, I found that a man was fishing. He was attacked by a group of wild dogs. He was able to scare them off with a shotgun.
Oh, okay.
One stayed back and he stood on his hind legs and glared at him.
Oh yeah, that was different than this one. These guys took a beating, right? Okay.
But he also stated that it had blue eyes and screamed like a person.
Okay. All right. So then that leads me up to my third sighting, right? Which was in same area, some part of northwest Michigan or whatever, 1967. And they said that nothing happened on this one. Some people just saw it, right? And that led them to believe that the Dogman, supposedly the legend of this Dogman, only appears every 10 years on years that end in the number 7, right? But here's something fun to you to tie into the last video that we just did. If you guys haven't watched it, stick around at the end. We'll put a link down there about Native American tales of giants. Bro, they got them for Dogmen too. Evidently, the Ottawa tribes that were in that area have had tales of this Dogman forever. They don't have, recorded dates like we do or whatever, but it's a word of mouth tribal passed down about it to go on and on and on, right? So did you pick any of that stuff up while you were looking?
No, there was a guy at a radio station that put out a song about the Dogman. It was supposed to be a prank.
Really?
And and after that song came out, their radio station got flooded with calls from sightings of this thing, and it was like stemmed really bad through the 50s and 60s.
Wow.
Is what, yeah, like there's so many sightings through the 50s and 60s.
So, also, doing my research, there's one thing, man, about this that gives me a moment of pause, bro. And so you'll understand this because how we grew up and where we grew up, right? The blue eyes and the howl that sounds like a person screaming, right? Cause man, you know what else does that? Has blue eyes and their roar or scream sounds like a woman screaming? Mountain lions, bro. Mountain lions can have golden eyes, yellow eyes, and blue eyes. And for a lot of people that don't know this, you can go look it up. Or if you ever hear a mountain lion scream, it sounds like a woman screaming. So I was like, man, all right, the blue eye. I've never heard of something with blue eyes. It doesn't really talk about the eyes were glowing or whatever. They're probably pretty huge or whatever. But that just makes me think, like, could this possibly have been like a mountain lion mix-up? I have my opinion.
Well,
what do you think?
The thing I could say to that is that people that actually said they saw the sightings said they witnessed this thing standing on its hind legs.
Yeah, true.
And it was like a wild dog. So
yeah, true, right? So I've never seen a mountain lion hang out with wild dogs, and I've never seen a mountain lion stand up on 2 feet either. And so, you know, and a lot of people too, if you're watching this video, you know anything about the woods. Mountain lions very rarely will come at you from the front. They like to hit you in the back of the neck, right? So I knew a guy, still know the guy. Every year, his thing was he goes out to Yellowstone and he fishes for 2 weeks, right? For 2 weeks, he goes out there and he fishes. And he had I wouldn't say a mask made, but it was a plastic printing of his face made. And he had a strap and he would wear it. They wear it behind their heads, right? So it looks like the eyes are facing that way to keep the mountain lions, you know, lower the chances of the mountain lion like attacking it, right? But a funny story is that I'll say this. I still think the most dangerous thing in the woods are people, right? And he told me this story one time when he was out there. He actually was really good friends with a Native American out there from somewhere. They used to meet. Like the guy would come from the West Coast. This guy lives out on the East Coast near me. They would go out there, spend 2 weeks. They had to put their food up in a tree and everything. Like they got off the grid, dog, right? And so, and they're big time fishermen, right? So he said he was fishing one time. It was him and his buddy. His other buddy was about like, I don't know, like 8 feet away or whatever. And out of nowhere, just real calm like, man, some dude just steps out of the tree line, like the shrubs, right? And starts walking towards him. And he said that he could tell that this cat, man, he had like bad intentions, right? Like something like something was off, right? So evidently the guy gets about like, they see him, you know, they verbally engage him. And the guy just keeps like, you know, he's not really responsive. He keeps coming, but he's got this thing on his hip, man. Like he's got a Bowie knife on there. It's probably 12 inches, a solid knife, right? And the guy, not the guy I know, but his friend was in between him, the Native American. And he was like, hey, look, don't come any closer, man. What do you want? What do you want? Guy kept coming, right? Dude got about, I don't know, 2 feet near him. And this Native American dude just, I'm talking about straight up door kicked him right in the shin, right in the leg, right below the knee. And then the dude fell back and screamed. And then both of them pulled out their bear guns, man, big, you know, 357, you know, magnums, and they held him down, right? And the dude was still, you know, being strange or whatever. But he just, man, they let him crawl off, right? They actually went and changed their campsite that night too, because they were worried he would come back, try to get him when they were to sleep. Anyways, sidebar on that. So yeah, so I've never seen a dogman, I've never seen a Yeti or an alien or any type of cryptids out there in the forest, but still to me, man, my opinion is that the most dangerous thing in the woods are people. But
no, agreed. And regardless, that's one reason why we're taking Rebby with us when we do go.
Right? Yeah.
Or we do.
Yeah, so one time I was in the woods, bro, and I was hiking, right? I've seen weird people in the woods, dude. I got to tell you a story one time, man. I saw a dude walking through the woods one time, had my wife with me, and he was just like, he was playing a violin, right? And this dude, I'm telling you, man, yeah, I don't know what he was doing, man. Like I heard him coming, right? And I'm like, yo, we were on a pretty decent hike, but we weren't like off grid, right?
Yeah.
And he was just playing this violin, and I saw him coming, and he was dressed. I don't know, man. I don't know what he was doing, but he was carrying it in his arm too, like this, like he was just doing it. And then as we walked, man, we kept seeing these. This is such a weird story. We kept seeing these little gnome figurines, right? Like somebody was walking through the woods, man, and they would put a gnome figurine in like a knothole over a tree or off to the side or whatever. But it was a strange dude. So I've seen all kinds of like weird stuff like into the woods. And one time I was in the woods and I was hiking by myself, but I wasn't like, I wasn't anywhere where I thought was dangerous, right? I had my camel pack on and I was walking. And I'm telling you, man, I took a stop and I was just sitting on this rock for like a minute. And this dude, he walked up on me, man. I didn't hear him coming or nothing. Right? I looked up and he was there, right? He was just there, right? And I was like, oh, snap. And I was like, hey, how are you doing, right? But he turned out to be a really nice guy, man. Just walking through the woods and whatnot. But he stepped out. And like, I didn't have my guard up or anything. I still hear the birds chirping or anything. There wasn't like a predator in the area. But yeah, man, so weird stuff happens in the woods, man. If you don't get anything from this podcast, cuz, tell them, right? It's like, the woods aren't for the weak. Yeah, so weird stuff happens, man.
Absolutely, man.
But then, so go ahead.
We're gonna have to plan a trip soon.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Like first thing in the spring, right? We're gonna have to do it. And so, after looking at this research on the Michigan Dogman, I started looking around for some more stuff as well. Growing up, do you ever remember being told about a dogman? You ever heard that as we were kids, man?
I can't recall hearing about a dog man.
Yeah, me neither.
We were fist fighting on Sundays while the girls were at church.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. Cage fighting, right? So I never grew up. I've only came across a pack of wild dogs one time in my life, man. One time, right, in my life. And but I've never heard where we were growing up in the Appalachians, man, in the northeast Tennessee border and the Carolina borders or whatever. I never heard of a dog man.
Never heard of a dog. Tell me if you remember this. One of our uncles, and I can't remember. It's in Johnson City, Big Lake, and this is back when the whole Loch Ness monster thing was going, right. Totally different, off topic, but Uncle Dickie, right, used to tell us that like the Loch Ness monster's like can was in that water. I don't know if you ever heard that.
No, so for you guys watching, we grew up traumatized and terrorized. We had uncles that used to make us do all kinds of crazy stuff, man, and they never missed an opportunity to tell us a story to terrify us, right? So yeah, no, I probably did hear that same tale, man, but like no.
Well, and also I have to throw out there when we were kids, I know you remember this, we had one family member in particular that used to say the world was going to end in 1986. Yep. Had us scared to
death. Told us that's why we had social security numbers, remember? to find our bodies. Yeah, so yeah. Healthy childhood, man. Generation X kids are not for the weak, man, I tell you.
That's for sure.
But look, man, so I did some looking, dude, and then I was like, yo, because the dog man thing caught me off guard, never heard of it. But then I did some digging, man, and I actually found out that I've never heard of one, I couldn't find one in North Carolina. I couldn't find one in Tennessee. Found a couple sightings in Kentucky, man, right? And yeah, Kentucky, right? And then I found a couple sightings in Georgia. And I was like, all right. So, all right. Oh. Yeah, there's people like Dogman in Georgia or whatever. And I didn't really go into like any of the details, man. Of course, like you said, man, all the videos crap. It's all fuzzy. You know, I mean, it's just like, doesn't anybody that sees any of these things have like a GoPro or like a iPhone at least 11 or like a Samsung, whatever?
It's like they're using a flip phone or something.
Yeah, right. So it's like all caught on like flip phones. It was, all like terrible footage. Except but that will lead me to something else I did find is that I actually found some in Texas, and I found a footage, dude, of a fairly decent video of one, man, out of all places, California. And they call it the Tallahatchie County or Tallahatchie City or whatever. I'm not pronouncing that right. It's an hour and like 15. It's 115 miles, man, north of Los Angeles is where I found it, right. And I've actually make a short. We'll drop that short Tuesday at like 8:45. If you guys want to watch it, I made a short video of it, of the actual footage on it. What's that?
So there's all kinds of weirdo sightings in Los Angeles these days.
Yeah, right, right. So the dog man, right? I did find that, and then it got me thinking too. Is that when we also grew up in around the Cherokee, I never heard of this thing called a skinwalker. Have you ever heard of these things called skinwalkers? Right.
Yes.
So yeah. I've never heard of them, right? But out there in your area, I guess Skinwalker Ranch is actually in Utah. How far is that from you? How far is Utah from you?
I think it's about 4 hours.
Right. So in that area, they actually have a ranch named for like this thing called like Skinwalker Ranch, and it got me looking. It got me looking into that as well. Basically, a skinwalker is a Native American shaman, medicine man that you have to do like all this. I'm butchering this or whatever, but from this, the gist of it is a Native American shaman goes through a few rituals, does some pretty nasty evil, and he's able to take on the appearance of a wolf or a dog or any type of other animals or whatever to do it. That's the gist I got of what a skinwalker was. And it got me thinking, is that okay, let's just go off the premise, man, that these things are real, all right? Because you and I believe damn near anything. Right? So so let's just go off the premises, these things are real, right? So if we want to say they're real, let's get into, man, what are they? Where are they from? And what caused them to be. But before you do that, I actually came across a video of a guy who seemed very well versed. And I came across this a couple of times too. These dogmen, they live in these earth mounds. And you know how a Yeti will supposedly bend trees and like put stuff on it? Dogmen will bend, like take shrubs, make like a dome and put mud on it and burrow into it, right? So supposedly they go in there and they run in packs. They'll be like, so if you ever come across a dome, earth dome in the middle of nowhere in the woods or whatever, and you see a hole, then you don't mess with it. Could be a bunch of dogmen in there, like just getting a nap or something like that, right? And they also burrow into the side of like earth mounds or whatever, just like earth in general, right? So we know this is where people say they live. This is what people say they are. A lot of people, when you start looking, a lot of people claim these sightings of them. I've never heard of them until recently myself. But
there's actually 3 Dogman movies out.
Are they?
Yeah, so one guy, he made all 3. I don't know if the third one's being made or if it's already made, but there are definitely 2. And I'm going to check those out so we can come back to this.
Oh, they documentaries?
No, it's not a documentary. Okay. I think it's actual movie.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So what would your best guess, man, from what little limited knowledge that we discover on these things, man? What are these things?
You know what? They might be landing on that same spaceship with the Bigfoot. Yeah, I don't know.
Man, true, man. Like they're setting us up for something huge, right?
If you tell me without me that you've seen it, I'll believe it 100%.
Yeah.
But until you and I see it with our eyes, I'm not. I could go either way.
Yeah, so let's explore that, man. So yeah, the alien connection, man. It's like, mate, you think like that big, like some people like that thing about Bigfoot's being space travel. I saw another thing, man, where this lady just recently reported a UFO being piloted by a Sasquatch. I just saw that like 4 days ago, and I was like, dang. So yeah, I wonder if this could be it, right?
That wasn't. It really wasn't a UFO. I mean, it was the Millennium Falcon, and it was Chewbacca.
Right? Han and Chewie making the Kessel Run, right? Cutting through Earth, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, right. But yeah,
Oh
so
yeah.
but then that got me thinking too. Is that all right? Could it be something always a species that's never been discovered before? Could it be something like a cave dwelling type of creature? Could it be another government like DNA splicing thing that they do? Because that's picking up steam as well. Just leaves so many possibilities to think that what this thing could actually be. And the documentary, not the story, this basic guy was telling him a story about the guys in Texas, man. I think I mentioned this before. There's three fishermen. They were on this boat. There's this a little nothing special boat. Sounded actually kind of crappy, right? And they pulled in their fishing spot at at dusk, and they said they got rolled up on by like a pack of these things, like seven of them, right? And red eyes, threw rocks at them for a minute, and then they were coming at them. They dove in, got away. One guy was extremely traumatized, can't talk about it without crying. Other guys like going on a tear, trying to hunt them down. The other guy doesn't even deal with the other two guys anymore, doesn't even acknowledge it happened, just like total blockout, right? So like these things where seeing a Bigfoot in the distance, because you would have to agree, right? Like that's more of a curiosity, right?
Yeah.
That's not gonna, unless that thing's like shaking a tree or chucking rocks at us, then we're leaving. You know what I mean? It's like, right.
we pulling our ARs out.
Right? And we're backing away. Yeah, exactly. Don't come in my living room, and I'll stay out of yours from now on, right? So,
Right.
but these dogman thing, I've never heard of a peaceful dogman encounter. Everything I looked at, man, with these things, bro. Did you?
When we do go on a camping trip, and we do it in one of the main areas that this has been spotted, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
All I can say is if one gets too close to us, we're gonna have proof on camera.
Right.
Laying there.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. If revenge takes off running and leaves us there, coward dog. Run, or if he swaps sides on us too. Yeah, no. So yeah. So I was actually in Cabela's a couple of days ago, and I just random thoughts were in my head. Like a 7 foot tall dog man, right? I mean, do we need to dip these 306 rounds in silver, or how does that work, man?
You know what? I think we should cover all bases.
Right?
We're going to everything we got.
Right, exactly. Let's take some garlic with us too and fling it at it. Right? But yeah, that got me as well when I was going down that rabbit hole too with like the dogman sightings and the burrows that this guy was talking about. One guy was telling a story how he found a burrow and he threw a can of kerosene in there, right? To burn it down, and like that night, he didn't say his location or anything like that, but like that night he was saying that like 12 dogmen were climbing on his roof and things like that. So then he realized that, oh man, like something he must have done, right? Pissed him off or something. But I think to me, man, is that if I saw a dog man, 7 foot tall, blue-eyed dog, right? And we could actually tell that that's something strange. Yeah, man, that's got to be pretty scary.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so
like where wait to take.
Huh?
I can't wait to take a trip, man, and see what it sounds, because we're going to record the entire time we're out.
Oh yeah, so look, I got this setup going already, man. Like with the microphones and like the pros and the cameras or whatever. I'm pricing out a heat signature camera as well. So
right.
And then of course I'm going to have our NOS in there where we're going, dude. I'm not going in there without night vision, sitting up in the middle of the night for sure. Some of the places that I want to go to, right? Just because, like I said, I want to see the people coming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like. I did watch this thing too, where this one guy made a pretty good point, and I've thought about this as well. Is that like they have to know you're coming before you see them. You know what I mean? There's no way, right?
Yeah.
Like these guys, they make their living surviving in the woods, right? And so So we're at a disadvantage. Like a deer, you know, you get upwind from a deer, right? You can get fairly close, right? But I'm not getting walked up on by a dog man, dude. So we're already at a disadvantage, man. So we got to know that when we're in there looking. Now it's another thing that's going to be on my radar too. Like I'm in there looking for Bigfoots and stuff like that. Now I got to look for like dogmen as well.
Oh, absolutely.
7 foot tall dogmen to come in there as well. But yeah, dude. So that's what I was able to come across with my research on the dogman, and it's like it's not a one off. Seems to be all across North America, dude.
And we will circle back to topics that we've passed on or finished as we learn new stuff and bring it to you guys.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like I said, this is something that I found fascinating to come into the end of it. But that's it. So Dogman. So as always, if anybody has any Dogman stories or whatever, one of our Bigfoot videos, the guy was talking about that he had juvenile Bigfoot prints in his backyard he lived in Oklahoma. I'll give you the state he lived in, right? And then he was saying that when he was working on his hot rods and stuff, he could feel somebody looking at him. And went out the next day, had these Bigfoot prints out there. His story is probably amazing, man. When we blow up, man, I'm gonna try to say, hey, look, man, come on the podcast, tell us firsthand what you're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. So if anybody has any Dogman stories or Dogman areas or that we should check out, hit us in the comments below, or you can just hit us offline or whatever and let us know. But that's it, cuz. That's all I got for you this week, man.
You know, we're ready to roll. Me and Revy's ready to roll, man.
All right, so get it ready. So, all right, everybody. If you stuck around this long, hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. I don't care what you do with the bell. We're trying to get 1,000 subs. We broke 200, so we got 800 more to go. So share it out. Anyways.
Hit
them, dog. Hit them and hit them, and we'll give you a selfie with revenge there.
That's right.
The most passive police dog on the planet. All right. See you next week. Walk us out, cuz.
Peace out. Love all our subscribers, man, and we'll be seeing you again soon.
All right. Later, guys.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.